Yeah.
Here, we got quorum.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Record of attendance. Linda, you good? Declaration of conflict of interest. Anybody here doesn't want to spend money? We're in trouble. Okay, approval of the agenda. Any additions or deletions? There are no additions. Go ahead, Jack.
Your Worship, I'd like to discuss a land development proposal in camera at the end of this meeting.
Okay, thank you. So in camera.
Second motion with the addition.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, Jerry, take us through this. And thank you.
First three pages are the capital budget, which was passed out at an earlier meeting. So it's the same thing here, but I can go through it real quick with you. Page 1 are projects that were passed out, approved in prior years' capital budgets. So what I'm showing here is this numbers 1 to 15 are projects that we've actually overspent for a couple projects that weren't done or weren't ended up being not necessary after second considerations. And but these are things that have been overspent over the years. The expenditures were approved for the additions to projects after the budget was approved, or changes to the project. So extra expenses were incurred, but all approved through council time. But these add up over time. So the way we handle our capital projects is we take an amount of money and set it into our capital project fund. And the fund does have some money, so this issue here, the top 15 projects being overspent by $660,000 over years, hasn't been a cash flow concern because our fund does have some money in it and we've been using that. But we do need to replenish that because over the next number of years we'll be spending everything we put in. So at this point there hasn't been an issue, but it will be an issue if we don't fund those extra expenditures. Number 16 to 23 are projects that have been approved, but for one reason or another just aren't completed as of yet. I know like with number 16, the fire truck's been ordered, just hasn't been delivered, so things like that. So those are more just time, things those will be done, just they haven't started or haven't been completed at this point. So the 664 is the number that I need to remember off page 1, and that's just money that's already been spent on projects.
Sorry. Yeah, yell at me when you need a question.
Yeah,
'Cause I
and
won't-
Chair, like 17, 18, the condenser and the heat exchange conversion, where are we on that now?
Yeah, the condenser was replaced and completed. That project was only completed in the end of April, so this is as of March.
Okay, and what about the next one? What about the exchange conversion? Because I know there's some talk.
Yeah, we're using that money for that whole project. So we had set aside money for that project, and in the end, the project wasn't approved by all partners. So right now, we've had to do a certain piece of that, which was a condenser, which would have been a part of the full heat exchange project. And so we've done that part. So that money's not being wasted, it's part of the full price. So as time goes on, if we want to complete the heat exchange project, the condenser would have been done.
Madeline?
Ah, thank you. Question 1, RCMP office renovations. Are we done with that now, or do you foresee other work coming?
The only thing that's come in is they've requested some kind of storage building to be on site.
Yeah.
That's it.
Other than that, when that's done, then we're done. Is that right? Good. And town hall renovations. Man, I've got it with reservations today. Town hall office renovations. I'm remembering a different number. For some reason, 125 is in my mind.
Yeah, but we spent the 15 or 20.
Okay, thank you.
As of March at that point. So that's the money that's left for those projects.
Danny, did you have a question? Did he answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So on page 2, that's where we get into all of our projects for we've been dealing with or potentially doing this year or making decisions to try to push things out to future years. So the top part, number 128, were items that we've talked about prior years.
That's not much money.
It's not a lot, it's still not a lot, but it's a matter of making choices.
Madeline?
Thank you. At number 24, the YMCA parking. It's in 1920. That's a long way down the road.
It is, some of
That's,
those,
I mean, you can lose a Volkswagen in parts of that parking lot.
some of those, discussions and things we've had with the directors and things are also considering what may or may not happen. So,
That's a good point, yeah.
Thank you.
again, we've got to put this plan together. If there's things that you really want to move up into a year, basically each year's kind of maxed out. So if you want to push, $100,000 like the parking lot into a park in an earlier year, you pretty much have to find 100,000 to push it back. Okay.
But that's a good explanation, though, right?
Yes, it is.
So there's,
Thank you.
there's probably a why to everything you've done.
Absolutely. But
Yeah,
now we're
and
getting
then
the
there's
answers
some
to the questions we're gonna get.
Yeah, exactly.
And some is just the priorities. Like the priorities this year were is the Brown Street.
Yeah. Jeff?
Maybe that would be Cliff Street, water and sewer.
So there's also, just on that topic, there's also the item 55, which is the streetscape, and it's described as streetscape and more. Part of that project is going to be around parking capacity and beautification, and the details of that we've not worked through yet. So if the YMCA parking lot, as an example, and vending infrastructure, right? Yeah. So as we work through the details of that, council may determine that the beautification or refurbishment of a particular parking lot is important. It's on the list. So the details of that are not sorted out yet. There is an opportunity.
Super. Is there an opportunity for a parking garage?
I would suggest that if you're thinking parking garage, that we might want to do a feasibility study on that. I know Jerry and I looked a couple of years ago at parking garage economics, and there actually is a parking garage association. If you can believe, yeah, yes, there really is, and their website has quite a bit of information. Anyway, the economics of it, I'm not sure. You have to look at it in terms of land mass and the price of land versus the price of building. And right off the bat, as we sort of learned right off the bat, is your first floor is a loss, right? Because no, your first floor of parking, the first level of parking adds no value, because you could have had that anyway with just flat ground, right? So it's level 2 where you start to. All right, so we can look into that if council wants us to, I guess is the short answer.
Good.
So some of the items you'll notice that are already started, and that's because of the council's direction, we've got priorities around certain things. And we had said that again, our capital fund has some money in it, so we can start some of these things and not have our engineer wait for those things that we knew were priorities, like the rebranding or half the
That works. No sense sitting back.
$150,000 too. We could not get potential 150,000 under the COA grant, is that right?
Yeah, well, those grants, like number 7, 8, and 9, those are grants that are directly related to the project. So if that funding doesn't come through, we just wouldn't do that. And that's why I specifically mentioned our last one, the streetscapes and more.
Yeah.
That project across those 3 years is a $4 million project, but that's directly tied to those 2 COA grants. So if the COA funding doesn't come through, we do those projects. And then that would just change our priorities or allow us to do some other things at that time. But right now, we're anticipating getting those and move forward with the streetscapes and what you guys have explained, which we parking and different things around town.
Yep, make sure you, I can't see it.
Yeah, the only thing I'll point out on this particular sheet, page 3, is that to cover the almost $6.7 million in capital projects, there is no borrowing in there, right? So we've been reducing our debt servicing costs within our operating budget. It is now very low. I think we're around 3%. Yeah, the threshold is 15, and it's been decreasing for close to 10 years. And so we're not proposing to add any debt here, and we're advising you that we wouldn't proceed with projects, even if they were approved in this budget, if the funding isn't available. So there is some asterisks by some of those projects. It's only if the funding comes through.
Bill?
It used to be too, Jeff, at one point, even within the last 7 years since myself and Danny have been here, and you've been here a little longer, is you could almost guarantee, the old Development Authority days, that you were guaranteed a third, a third, and a third at one point, and you don't see that anymore, do you?
You don't see that as much. Well, you don't see it a lot anymore. I know some municipalities, they approach their infrastructure in that way, that if we only have to pay, when we have to pay a third is when we'll do it. We don't approach it that way, and I don't know that there was ever a time, not in my time, when in fact you could put aside your capital list and say, well, you know, when the grants come through, we'll do this stuff. Not as a town. I think our infrastructure need is too great to wait, and the funding is too slow, coming from Build Canada funds, or, well, the gas tax is nice because it's dependable, it's reliable, but it's not nearly enough to handle the stuff we need to do. So I don't know that there was ever a time when we could rely on the one-third, 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 but we certainly don't get more than that. More than that would be the exception.
So you said you whittled it down over the last several years. What, was it a combination of projects that were done, infrastructure projects, or was it one big one?
Whittled went down.
You said whittled our ratio down.
Oh,
our
the
borrowing.
debt servicing costs. So what happened about 10 years ago is we put a significant increase in the tax rate, and we made sure that went into capital. And ever since then, we've had the capacity with our reserves, with our current revenues, with our gas tax, and the occasional Build Canada Fund grant to do our capital projects. So that's allowed us to continue to pay off debt without adding anything new. And so we have retired over the last 10 years several loans through the Municipal Finance Corporation. I think we've only got a couple left outstanding now, and you know, that some towns our size basically work on revolving debt to pay their
Do a
infrastructure.
project, borrow the money.
Well, yeah,
pay down,
they
do
might
a
pay off,
project.
they might spend $1 million on debt servicing in the year, and they turn right around and borrow another $1 million. So, and just to try and keep up with their infrastructure. We're not on that cycle. We're basically preserving our debt capacity for the unexpected. You know, or, you know, in 20 years when we need to do the big job at the sewer treatment plant, we can look at debt or borrowing as one of our options to help deal with that situation.
Yeah, so just that we haven't anticipated any need to borrow at this point. We did, with in the funding of the capital, if these big projects go ahead and get the partners funding with us, our local government, we will need to transfer reserve the current year to get that 6.6 million. But our reserves are healthy. We'll see from different SCI reports, our fiscal commission index reports that we're quite healthy reserves, and we can afford to do that. Let's get that funding comes through. A lot of projects, a lot of work to be done. Any other questions on the capital?
Good? Okay. Think we're good there, Jerry.
Well, what do you want to do? What is,
Oh, sorry, Jeff.
so this, as Jerry said, this hasn't changed since it was presented, excuse me, presented to you about 2 to 3 weeks ago.
We're on page 3.
Page 3. Yeah. Pages 1 through 3 are the capital budget that Jerry presented to you a few weeks ago, and just brought it back with, and went through it briefly with some explanation. I guess the question is, and we've heard some questions, what would you have us do next? If there's information you require, if you're satisfied with it, if you're not satisfied with it, we need a little feedback on where to go from here on this.
Danny?
So, Jeff, are you looking for a motion to accept the capital budget as it stands now, and for the information we had at the last session and this session, unless you want to take more time, or we've had time to look at it. We've had explanations from our finance person, Jerry, and yourself. If you need a motion to accept the capital budget, I'm comfortable making that motion that we accept the capital budget as presented here today, and I move that we accept it, if that's what you're looking for.
That was one of the options.
Okay, but I mean, what else is there to look at? He explained it. We got 2015, 2016, 2016, 2017. These are the important, these are the things that this council is going to be working on. What's off in the future, that's great, but there's nothing I can do about the future till we hit.
Right.
After October, November, whoever sits around this table and
Right,
does that. But I don't have any concerns with what's here and what's coming down in 2016, 2017. I'm very comfortable. Although, if we could have had more money in paving, would have been great, but I know that's always very ticklish because of all the other projects. You have to sacrifice one for the other, so it's either you sacrifice one for the paving, and just to keep the paving the way we have it is, I guess it'd have to be sufficed for now unless we win the lotto, I guess. But anyway, that would be my motion.
Yeah, so to be clear, your motion is approving this year's capital budget, because the future years, this council isn't making that decision, but you have to look at that to know.
That's right,
You're
that's
making
right.
the right decision in the context.
Exactly, yeah. 2016, 2017. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay, so Phil, go ahead.
I'll second the motion, but just to be clear, that motion includes that under our current fiscal situation, there won't be that's not including the tax increase, or that's what our current financial picture, our current financial projections, okay?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, good.
That's a good question. That's a good question, yeah. Anyway, I'll shut my
I'll
mic
second
off.
the motion.
Okay, Madeline?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have two more questions under the capital budget. Number 22, the walkway for the cotton mill. I see that's in 2019, 2020. If we don't have the cotton mill anymore? If we don't have the cotton mill anymore?
Then comes in.
We're gonna, what,
Okay, fine. And just one other question, just for clarification, number 38, Milton Park improvements, we're budgeting $50,000.
What number?
50. Sorry, 38.
Yeah, what's, okay. What's that? Yeah, that wasn't the, yeah, okay.
Oh, okay, I'll let CAO, you have your light on.
Sorry, I can't see your light yet, they hit me.
So is the question about the 50,000 in the Milton Park
Yes,
improvements? Okay, so,
yeah, just some clarification,
Yep.
because we're going back in history and we were told one thing and now we see something else.
that's right, and at the last Communities in Bloom, there was, Communities in Bloom meeting, I think I was at that one. That was the last one, right? Yeah, there was a motion made to forward to council, or to forward a proposal to council around the development of that park. That was discussed several months ago, and part of that proposal would require that 50,000 in order for it to proceed. Council has not accepted that proposal yet, and so I would consider that 50,000 in this budget as a placeholder or a bookmark.
placeholder, all right.
A bookmark, just in case.
All right.
It allows you to do it if you choose. It doesn't shut down the proposal before you've considered it.
Okay, thank you.
and Jerry and Jeff, there's been questions, or somebody's asked a question. Is there money in the fund that developers do a project and then they put money or land in a bank? Is there money in that fund?
So that is the Parks and Green Spaces Reserve. It comes about as a result of taking 5% value when property is subdivided. So believe, Jerry, in the area of 100,000 maybe in that fund? Yeah. Yeah, so if you're coming around to the that project or any project that fits the criteria of being a park development or trail development, that is a source of funding that you could bring in to offset it.
Do you know the last time we spent any money out of that fund?
Yeah, I say I do. I remember one time we spent money out of that was we replaced all 4 of the town-owned playgrounds in the town at a cost of about $20,000 each. That was about 9 years ago.
So we haven't spent anything in 9 years out of that fund?
We may have one other time, but the details don't come immediately to mind.
Good.
So,
if we decide, and that's an option, that we could take either some or all, some of the 50,000 or a portion of it, and okay.
so these,
Write that down, Jerry. Write it down.
at 47, these traffic light upgrades for Brunswick and Stars. Okay, I know, I just answered my own question. We're still looking at different times, like we're doing those checks again, and that's a placeholder as well.
Exactly. So what has happened, the traffic counts have been redone as council requested. The data has not yet been given to the consultant for him to put into his model and do his analysis, but I confirmed yesterday that the counts have been done.
Okay, good.
But I think to remember, all the projects on here are of high enough value that we go to tender to do this, that kind of thing, so the engineer brings tender results back to you for final approval for those projects.
Mm-hmm.
This is just to put a plan in place so we can start working on it.
Yep, sure. Madeline?
Thank you, Your Worship. Number 35, Clements Avenue Multi-Use Trail, we're budgeting 150. Would you clear me up on this, please? What else are we doing to that trail?
You got that answer?
This is entertaining, I can tell.
Would you, sorry? Okay, so this is, you may have actually noticed recently some surveying being done on Clements Avenue between
Yes.
Parade Street and 4th Street. So it would be extending the trail along
This is
that
the
very
extension then.
wide gravel shoulder, we would put in the paved trail similar to what it is between Stars and Parade.
Yeah, but that's the extension.
Good? Any more questions on the capital budget? We've got the, okay, questions been called? Oh, yeah, put your, just so we can hear. Yeah,
Sure.
go ahead.
Excuse my voice a little bit. I've been looking at this, as you all have, quite a little bit lately, and I don't know how you come up with a budget like this that's so good, so complete, and so looking forward. So I just want to say that I'm in support of the budget, and some of the same questions that were raised by my fellow councilors were questions that I had. So I'm in support and look forward to the passing of the budget, operational budget, capital budget.
Capital budget. So, yep, CAO.
Yeah, I just want to respond to that and point out that Jerry does all this work. Certainly the directors contribute to what the projects are and help to come up with the estimates on a project-by-project basis. But Jerry puts together the plan and works with the directors and myself so that we kind of reach a consensus on what we're bringing forward to council. But this is, I know more work has gone into it this year than perhaps previous years to deal with this issue from the past and bring that up to the current. So Jerry's done a lot of work on this and deserves the credit.
Good job, Jer. Okay, so we've got a motion and questions been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried.
Move right into the operational budget.
Yay.
Okay, we gave you, or I presented, I guess, a quick report a couple weeks ago, which was the higher levels of our budget. Starting with page 4, just showing some of the budget highlights of what's in the budget and how it was developed. Assessments are down in the town. Just from that one issue alone, there's about $200,000 less in revenue for the town for the upcoming year. We followed our plan for our sewer rate increases and corresponding tax rate decreases, which we started 4 years ago. This is the 4th year in that plan. So the residential tax rate would come down 4 cents and the commercial tax rate would come down another 8 cents, and to offset the sewer rate increases. So that's built into the budget that we have in the following pages. Transit revenue just for the current year, we budgeted around $30,000. We should be down all our after a couple months of looking at. Hopefully, should meet those targets or more. And looking at increasing the composting piece at 3%. The expenses is over $6.9 million. Again, we just went through the capital project, building a few of the bigger projects, and spending on at least $18 million over 5 years. Now, how that affects our operational budgets, we budget amount equivalent to depreciation. And in our budget, to keep things straightforward for you folks, is that I've shown it as depreciation, but in the end, what we do, we take that dollar amount and transfer it to our capital reserves, and we spend our money out of our capital. In the capital fund, we'll spend $600,000 on, that might sound better for you, but $600,000 on roads, sidewalk improvements. So that's a combination of $350 that's in our capital budget, plus another $250 or so is in our operational budget for paving and hatching and those types of things. And some sidewalk repairs as well.
Good. Jim?
Jerry, I asked you this question the other day, and you responded, and you've explained it again today. I'm just thinking about my own assessment, and I shared it with Jeff. My own assessment is down approximately 13% over a period of 3 years. And you're showing us this year a loss of revenue possibly of 200,000 plus. And you started a program 4 years ago. Was that initiated by the current council, or was it, how do we start that? I guess my bottom line is, I don't mind you, I'll ask another question. if you didn't drop the taxes, the tax rate, I mean, it's possible my tax bill would be the same as last year. And we would have 4 more cents residentially, and that equates to about $100,000.
Yeah, just to comment on the sewer rate program that we've started. Page 11 shows the details of that, without any question. So we started with we reviewed it back in 2012-13 year, and our year one was 13-14, so that we started reducing the rates. And those are based on what I did, I looked at all the work that we did with our consultants and could figure out from that how much, based on the meter size, what was residential, what would be commercial. So I knew based on the meter size what our sewer revenues, how they would change for residential versus commercial. So if the residential sewer charges were going up by 100,000, I would reduce the tax rate, basically 4 cents to reduce the 100,000 taxes. So it's revenue neutral for the town, all the sewer programs, all of that. So the sewer rates were going up, taxes were going down. So we made it very clear,
Yeah.
we made it very clear to commercial, some commercial owners and some residents that attended those meetings that this is our plan, and as our sewer rates go up, our tax rates will come down. So if council decides to not reduce the full amount of tax rate, that in effect for me, I would like to keep it clear for the residents, commercial businessmen that we talk to, that we are doing following our plan, and then your commercial rates come in 8 cents, but council has decided that there would be in effect a 2 cent, 3 cent, whatever it is that you want, increase in the tax rate. So we've built in based on the sewer rate reduction.
I think councilors, my fellow councilors know how I feel. What about some of you other people around the table? How do you feel about that?
I say, if you
No,
want.
no, no, Mike, stop. I want my turn first. I think we started this exercise when the former chair of the water utility, we thought that maybe some of the residential taxpayers were subsidizing the water utility, the water rates, right? So actually, when you came to funding formulas and all the other things, is our tax rate was artificially high because we were subsidizing people who lived in the municipality, and other people were subsidizing the water. So we weren't having a true cost of a municipal service, but I don't think the time is right now to try to get back that $100,000. We have, if you go across this province for the money we spend for any municipal unit, we probably have the most aggressive capital program, I'm going to say in the province. I'm not going to go out on a limb. I don't think that's on the limb. I think we do. Budget to budget, dollar to dollar. We probably, and one of the most aggressive in the country. And I think if we can go out and tell the taxpayers that we're spending $18 million the next 5 years on capital projects, and our tax rate, even though it's going, they'll say, man, your taxes are going to go through the roof. Our tax rate has actually dropped from, you're looking in here, from $1.78 or $1.80 into the $1.60s. It shows the job that Jeff has done. It shows the job that Jerry's done. It shows the job that Dave Ernst and all the other directors have done a job in bringing the budget under control and prioritizing the projects. You know, we've had some things like the Argyle Street project that we spent a lot of money on. I still see there's two things in there. There's a cleaning and 2 other projects that will affect the flow of water up there. But to go out and say, let's keep that 4 cents. I think we told the taxpayers here 3 or 4 years ago when we did the project what we're going to do for the lifetime of that span. And I think we brought that out, and I think I was in your chair, your worship, I think we told the taxpayers in the life of this water rate review, this is what we're going to do, and to go back on our word, even though we're reducing the taxes, I don't think we can do that to the taxpayers. We told them what we're going to do over the life of the span, and let's keep our word and do it.
I agree totally with Councillor Mooney. Not only that, but, you know, this council agreed to go this route. To go back on my word, I'm not prepared to do that. I know last year the councillor wanted to raise it a cent or 2 cents, whatever it was, the rate, and we didn't agree to that either. It's the hard work of this council that made this happen the way that it was, because we approved it. We got the facts and figures from our staff, and they brought it to us. We agreed to it. The study was done. This is part of the study. This is what we're implementing. And we had all our meetings, as Councillor said, and to go back on that, I'm not prepared to go back on that. There's nothing wrong with having lower taxes. If you want to raise taxes, now's not the time to raise them for different reasons. We all have our different reasons. But if you're going to do it, don't nickel and dime. Just, if you're going to raise it, raise it. Raise it to what you're going to need. And that would have to come from Jeff. If we need a 25-cent increase or a 20% increase, then that's when you do it. Not this penny and 2 pennies or 3 pennies. That doesn't add a whole lot. Just makes people more furious. And at this time, this is what we agreed to implement. And if we're not going to keep to our word, then that doesn't say a whole lot about the trust of this council. So I would say that we keep to our word, keep it as it is till this is fully implemented. And if we need a raise of taxes down the road, then we should be more serious. Like I said on council, we raised it 15% for a capital project. That's what we done. And what we did after that was we rolled it into a general revenue tax hike. And so if that route wouldn't be so bad, and people could tolerate that when they know that there's an outcome in the end, like we have a Mariner Center. That's what that 15% came. So anyway, I'm not prepared to raise any taxes or decrease any taxes at this time.
Good. We are, Madeline?
Thank you, Your Worship. From a purely business and balance sheet point of view, which is what we are a corporation and we are a business, and we're here to make money, or at least make enough money to keep the town going. If, as my colleague suggests, if we raised it back to where it was, not increase, but raise it back to where, yes, it would be an increase, but in as much as we wouldn't be paying, the majority would not be paying more taxes. We would just be paying the same as we were before. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, if you look at it that way, you said commercial assessment, or all assessments, residential, commercial, and aerial, is going down 2% this year, roughly. If that were the number, and you said, well, you want people to pay the same taxes last year, so raise the tax rate by 2%,
Mhm.
would be about the same sentiment. Then that's one way to look at that.
Mhm.
But then, no, I think most people are comfortable with the tax amount. It's, you know, and if assessments are going down, tax rate goes up, and they pay the same amount for a couple years in a row, and that's one way to look at it. I know we've done that before when we had some healthy years with assessments going up. When we had a residential tax, or the residential assessments go up by 7, 8, or 9% kind of thing. But, you know, to reduce that, let's reduce the tax rate, we get like a 5%
Mhm.
increase in the tax rate compared to what that is. So trying to keep people's tax bills similar to the prior years.
If that were equal all across the board, I would be in favor of it. Not everyone's assessments went down. Not everyone's did. So so some people would actually, in fact, be paying more in their property taxes. As I said in the onset, from a business point of view, and we are a business, that's how you stay in the game. Now, from a grassroots point of view, I have, right from the first day that I sat here, I have said we are just starting, people are just starting to feel the ground under their feet. Now, with having having survived those 4 dastardly years without the ferry, and now slowly getting back on their feet. I still don't, even though it's going to hurt in services and it's going to hurt in special things that people want done. Okay, you're not going to be able to get a pothole the size of a Volkswagen fixed tomorrow. That costs a lot of money. So that is going to have to be taken into consideration out there by our taxpayers, and we're all one of those. I am willing to not raise the rate, although my business side says yes. But no, I'm not willing to raise the rate because we have to give this town and the people in this town a fighting chance. Give them at least another year or 2, I would say, and just tighten your shoelaces in other areas. Thank you.
I got my comments from around the table. Thank you very much, everybody. No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I figured that from the last time, but this is the last kick at the can. So I'm going to support this part of the budget discussion.
You know what, if we don't ask, and we don't throw it out there, then, you know, it's
But-
worth the discussion.
I just want staff to know that there's different points of view around the table, and don't always understand the depth that Jerry and Jeff have gone into, and so I don't mind paying a few cents less on my residential tax rate this year.
And Councilor McIsaac brought up the perfect scenario when they did the Mariner Center. They put was it a levy or special tax, Dan, or they called it? And we're still bearing some of the fruits of that thing 10 or 12 or 13 years ago. And that tax is still built in, so that's where we got our funding our depreciation. That's back from 13 or 14 years ago. So if you ever see another scenario like that, it's, you know, that's a completely different ballgame again. But like echo what Jim said, Jerry and Jeff and the directors have done an excellent job in reflecting the needs of our community.
All right.
Just a couple more comments on page 4. We do have a transit system inherited in the budget. We do have streetlights are converted to LED. We should save $125,000 a year on that. Ferry terminal, we have that in there, but no net cost to the town. Revenue from the service itself will pay for our costs. And we still have $120,000 in this budget to maintain the last one.
Go ahead, Deputy. Giver.
Jerry, it's interesting, the streetlights have been converted, so you can actually see a decrease, a saving of 125 grand.
We will. We just started getting the bills.
So it's this coming fiscal year that we're going to see the real saving.
Yeah, the year we just got through, we were with Nova Scotia Power, you don't have a lot of bargaining power with that, so we were paying the higher amount even though we're supposed to get a reduced bill. So in March, we finally got it resolved, and there's quite a credit that was supposed to return there. So we've seen the savings for the year that just closed off, and we'll see around $125,000 a year of savings annually from here on.
Compared to the bill two years ago, say. Yeah, wonderful. Yep. Thank you again, Jerry.
So page 5, I went through all the different emails we get from Linda after committee of the whole meetings or council meetings with refer to budget. So here's the list that I had from emails. There's one thing that's not on the list that I only thought of in the last day or so, and I think I added to it, and that was, I believe, there was some suggestions of another support person or support staff for CEO. So that's not in there as well.
Is that on page 4?
That's on page 5. Not in this draft. So you just make a note of that.
What number is that?
It's not.
I'm just saying,
Oh, it's not.
Just Let's write it, yeah.
So it should be number 13.
Wow.
I talked to you about that, Jim. It would be 13. That's assistant.
Yeah. Yeah, we said that last year, I think.
Chair, on number 10, was that a specific project for the YMCA, or was that just in addition to what we?
I don't have their budget, but their suggestion was, they asked for, we put that in the budget, they asked for a $90,000 operational budget this year, which had to do with finishing some panels and different things like that on the waterfront. But then they also had tentatively a project.
I think I'm talking about the YMCA one.
YMCA.
I think the
Okay,
the one,
that's the one.
number 10. What do we do? We're both 50,
Yes.
56
They
now?
asked, we give them 55, it's in there for 55,000 for operational, but they've also asked for another 20,000 towards capital.
Okay, and the one below that you're discussing earlier, Jer, the YWDC, we haven't done anything really, Jim, in the last couple of years. You guys have been pretty good to us, right?
Go ahead, Deputy. Oh, I got all kinds of, I got lights.
There's $100,000, if we come up with a project and in the area of 100,000 or less, we'll approach the town at that point with the project that you will have the final say in whether we go ahead with it or not go ahead with it. Yeah, that's what we agreed around the table, Danny, I think. And right now we're working on, Dave Solos is working on 2 or 3 items for us, and hopefully they'll show up this summer.
Can I ask one more question, even though Danny had his light on?
Oh, okay, then I'll turn mine on.
Yeah, put you guys don't have to turn your lights off, you just have to go in order.
We discussed, I think might have been just before you came in, about the walkway around the old cotton mill. Has there ever been, I know we had a discussion about a piece of property on the other side of the cotton mill closer to the dam. Is there any talk about the rejuvenation or rejigging of the Vancouver Street project? You know, the one they're doing over the, I think the bridge was going to be part of the project, and the look-off and some other things.
You and I and David Warner and the other party need to get together and work on that work on that one project. Yeah.
Okay.
And so when we do that, we'll come to YD's waterfront development and then to the town.
Okay, good.
Councillor Dawes?
Thank you, Your Worship. Jerry, would you go back to page 2, please, number 23? It says Waterfront Park. I know this is for 2019-20. It's 100,000. What is that for? 23. It's in the 2019-2020 plan.
That was actually, I think, basically some redevelopment that went into down there, further south or further north.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. All right, it's not something that might need to fall into today or tomorrow's to-do list. All right. All right.
Thank you. Phil, on the Vancouver Street project and stuff like that, I think the pricing was quite way out of whack. And I think we put that at the Waterfront Development, put that on the back burner. Along with that was part of the walkway going around, the soon-to-be, hopefully, no more cotton mill there. Rejig that. So I think that's the only holdup. Way back when Deputy Mayor Boudreau was there, that was a project that they took on, and it was overfunded way back then, if you can remember. You were mayor at the time. Jerry, number 12, organizational review funding. Okay, so that's been passed by council and everything, so is there money put aside for that? Has the tenders been opened, anything? There must be a cost there somewhere for the tenders.
We have money in our budget for studies.
Okay, okay. But it's got not included in the first drafts, does that mean it will be? Yeah. Okay.
Jeff, do you remember where we had something in line for the $30,000 line that sets up for studies?
Yeah, the only thing that, in terms of studies that I had in mind for this year, given what's gone on, or what is going on with the Killen building, the next step, you know, around a longer-term vision down there, will be doing some kind of conceptual plan around the interpretive center, science center, what have you, for the biosphere. So that was the only thing I had in mind there.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, your organizational review funding, you didn't have that in mind? Is that what it is? Is that what you're saying? Or am I misunderstanding you?
Jerry was asking about a specific line item in the budget, and I was just responding to what I had in my list. He's
Okay.
identified the organizational review funding is not included. I don't think we've opened the proposals yet. Those are to be opened, copied, and sent to you, so I don't think we know what number to put in there, to be honest.
Yeah, I understand it, but we've had them for, what, how long have we had these?
Couple
Going on
weeks.
a couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's, if we're going through the budget, we should have at least open them up so at least we have some idea. I guess that's what I'm saying. I would have expected to see something there, but I guess I don't see it, so that's, you answered my question.
Okay, thanks. All right,
So some of those projects moved off, some, so that we can hold the price tag.
I would suggest this number 12 probably would, sir.
Page 6 is the quick one-page summary of where the budget sits today. You'll see the 16-17 budget with budgeted deficit of $123,000 at this point, and that's with, again, what's in and what's not in is reflecting these numbers. So we have things on that list of things that are not included in the budget that the organization will do, which we could run for,
like what, Jer?
like that, was number 12, the organizational review.
Yeah?
So that's not in this number, so if we,
Oh, you guys need to know what we want to,
whatever number we pick, if it's 30,000 or 50,000, we would add that number to the 123,000 deficit that we have to find, make change things. So you can see that's just, put in the budget change percentages, so that's from budget to budget, because actuals, it's hard to do anything with the actuals. Those were numbers as of a month ago. We're just at the starting audit number now, so those numbers will change a fair bit. The one big number, the one change that you'll see in the under the actuals, which is the 15-16 actuals, the second column, is down in number 11, which is transportation services. And that's low this year for two reasons that we've already discussed. One is the streetlights went through there, so there's a fair credit through there that we got. And another was, I know they had an issue this or past summer with the different paving companies getting them back to the paving patching. So we had a lot of paving patching to do last summer. They came in early, did some, left town, worked on bigger projects and didn't get back. So we didn't spend our full budget past year on paving patching part, just because the crew didn't get back and get it done. So that's the high level summary. That's 123 is the number that we gotta figure out still, plus
Can I just, Jerry, just interrupt for a second? Jeff, How does that work with the contract? If we award that contract to these, well, let's just say Aberdeen, and they don't fulfill their contract? I mean, we awarded it in good faith to have the work done, and if the work's not done, then what happens to, the town as a whole with the streets? The streets are still the same as they were the year before, and again, this year. I don't know how much they didn't do, but I guess, to me, it would seem that if you got a contract, you should fulfill the contract. And I don't know what we could do or not do, because they're the only paving company that ever bids, and it leaves us in a lurch and have to explain to people, well, they left town for a bigger contract. People sometimes don't understand that you hire people and they just up and leave and don't come back. I mean, what recourse do we have? Perhaps none, I don't know.
Well, firstly, I think this was the first year that they've not been able to complete the volume of work we've requested. We always tender that on unit pricing, so it's so much per cubic meter of asphalt and what have you. So it isn't like they're bidding $200,000 to do the whole shebang. They're building so much per cubic meter, and then our guys go around and mark the areas that we want done. And they do usually get it all done. Not always, in one visit. You recall some of the issues we've had in the past is the first lift of asphalt goes down, and it seems to be a long time before the second
And
lift.
I guess there's other circumstances come into play, like water lines, water leaks, repair, like on Main Street or whatever, and different things.
Yeah, and so they last year was unfortunate. As far as recourse goes, we really don't have any, except they understand that we're a consistent customer. We're there every year. We want work done, and I think they treat us well, with the exception of, speaking of that specific company, with the exception of they just didn't get everything we wanted done last year. They do capital projects for us in addition to that work, and
They're good at that.
We don't have complaints
okay.
so much about their work. It's just unfortunate last year.
No, you answered my question. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Jim. Go ahead, Deputy.
Jerry, so we have at this point, we're budgeting for a shortfall of $123,000, is that what it is? And or 150 about, so we need to find 150 operationally?
Yeah, we're gonna put in money for the, organizational review. You're saying that's only 25,000, we're looking for 100.
Okay,
Well, I'm just throwing out a number, just for discussion purposes, more than anything.
yeah, I want to bounce
so-
off of you too.
So if there's 150 that we're looking for, do you want us to find it in the operations or in the capital projects? In the operations, okay.
So what Jim is saying, sorry,
No, I'm all
Just
set.
keep your light
I
on,
want
though.
to go back and forth,
But-
that's all.
as I understand it, we have that shortfall, but then on page 5, we've got a whole list. And Danny mentioned the organizational review, that's just one. That's one of 13. So are you saying to us, you want us to pick out of this list of 13 what we want to go with? And then you have to find the numbers,
We can decide the numbers to go with,
right?
those will be in addition to the 123.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. So that's where we are now, as I understand it. We need to sit down and make some decisions on which of these we want to fund this year,
I've already made my notes.
okay?
Do we have to fund any of them this year? If
Yeah.
if we're struggling to find, a deficit at this point, a projected deficit of 123, do we have to find any of them? Just throw that out. And Jerry, I've looked at the budget a little bit, and obviously you've looked at it a whole hell of a lot more than us, but can we find 123 based on your projections?
Yeah, there'll be a few choices there as well.
Yeah.
One thing I think of off the top of my head is we did, budget for, the engineer we hired, if not hired yet. So we could be looking at half a year, well, it's in there for him as money that we could pull out of our budget and use for, just reduce the 123. So I mean, there's not, that's the one big one that I can think of off the top of my head. The other ones are gonna be, trying to take a $25,000 budget line, so you only got 20 or those types of things. I don't think we can do a whole lot with, some of the other things that we have in there. I mean, we have a lot of initiatives in there that are, need to be there, and we want to be there. It's not like we say, well, service was cut this year, that's something that's gonna stay. So, I mean, we can find it, but it's gonna be a lot of nickel and dime stuff.
Okay, so number 1, lighting of Maud Lewis Trail. Do we have to do that this year? No. Does anybody at this table feel like we have to do it this year? No. Okay, that's it. Additional park seasonal staff? No. No. Anybody think we have to have that?
I can't say from my perspective.
We have,
We went a couple years ago with parks supervisor, we had to fill that position,
Yeah.
that's in there.
I think that'll help, that'll alleviate
It
a
will.
lot of problems.
so are we okay with, we all right with number 2? Getting rid of number 2? Anybody disagree? Yep, you can, go ahead.
I think I need to voice it here, just so you're aware, is that from the staff perspective, the supervisors, they find it very, very challenging to meet the expectations, their own expectations and the expectations of council and the community with the number of staff that they have. And, they voice that because they don't like to disappoint. They would rather receive praise than criticism for how hard they work. It has been personally brought to me that's an area where they would like to see some more resources, and my standard answer is there are lots of areas where we'd like to see more human resources. It will come down to budget decisions. So I'm only saying that not because I think it's the most important thing on your list, but because it was brought to me personally, I thought I would bring forward the voice of the staff on that.
Okay, so let me ask this, and I've said this before too, but we have people out there that would absolutely love to do some of the little things. And if we don't have the money to give extra staff, but we have people out there that would do some gardening and things like that, they're not taking away from staff. They're just giving to their community. And if they were to sit down and they were trained right and said, this is what you need to do on a weekly basis, would they do it? I think some of them would. You've got, without naming names, the Dave Solos of the world that would do an excellent job and step up and help the community. But that's just my perspective. Councillor Dennis?
Yes, I agree with you, Jeff. Even the judges from communities in Bloom couldn't believe that we had such a small staff doing all the work that they do. So, and as Mayor Mood said, also there is a lot of people out there that would like to help, so through volunteering, and maybe that's a way we can too, but we don't want to step on not hiring somebody by bringing in volunteers either.
Yeah, so there are some specific examples where volunteers help us out, and I'm a little hesitant to mention. Well, I'll mention one because it's been ongoing for a long time. Is, you know, there's a group of people who volunteered their time, and they were out last week working on the gardens or the green areas around the Brown Street parking lot, down on their hands and knees on the sidewalk. And I stopped and I took a picture and I talked to the ladies because they were, I mean, obviously doing something out of civic pride and whatnot. It was great to see. People taking on projects like that, you know, can be a great help, and it can be really good for the community. One of the issues that we have is there are very few groups who stick with it as long as that group has. And if groups want to take on a park or a green area, I think that's something that we can work with. Our experience has been that most of them don't stick with it as long as that group. So if we can find a way to get those people to come forward for specific projects and find the people that have that kind of passion to stick with it, I think that would be a huge help. And I know we've had help down at the Lost to the Sea monument with volunteers there. So, you know, there are cases where it's proven very successful.
Madeline, your ladies.
Thank you, Your Worship. Seasonal workers, yeah, there are very, very tight seasonal timelines where things need to be done yesterday and get ready for tomorrow. Our staff, the staff that we do have, their time is stretched very, very, very thinly. Volunteers, God love every one of them, and if they would, if everyone would, just walk around with a garbage bag in their back pocket and bend over and picks up some litter, that would be greatly appreciated. But anything beyond that, I fear we're looking at, we would have, no, I don't, we would have to, I know we have to look at insurance and liability issues. So I'd stay very clear of that. But that's only from my business background and I have a question for you, sir. Do you know, no, you won't know offhand, but could you tell me, find out for me, what percentage of assessments have gone up or have not gone down? The numbers or the percentage, let's say if 25% of our house inventory, if their assessments went up. I know the majority, most of them went down. Is there a way to find that out? Because if the percentage number is that small, I would be willing to reconsider looking at bringing the rates up to what so everyone would still be paying what they did last year. But if there are too many people out there that would be affected negatively. If their tax rate went way up, then no, I would not, I can't support that, I can't justify that. So would you find that out for me, please, and let us know? Thank you.
Good.
Just to go,
I don't know where the light
my
went.
turn, no?
Oh, it was Danny's.
Dan, go ahead, Dan.
Jeff, on the additional parks seasonal staff, what are we looking at for money? What are you looking at? Two people at, what do they make an hour? And how many, 40-hour week, times how many weeks? They get $11 an hour at least?
A little more?
12, whatever it is, but just rough. And they work, what, 12, 15 weeks?
Yeah, most students for this will get about 6,000.
6,000 per person? So you're looking at probably 15,000 bucks for 2 students?
If you're at $12 an hour, 37 and a half hours a week for 12 weeks, 5,400. So
Yeah.
10,
Yeah.
11,000.
11,000. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's seasonal, we're mixing that up with.
I mean, do we also know the cost, what we're doing here? There's no pricing here. So in order to find the $120,000 shortfall, I don't know what all this stuff is worth. I know somebody wants 20,000. The capital is 100,000 for the waterfront development, but that's only in case we need it. That's not going to be put aside. We don't know what the organization review is because we don't have it yet. The 7 additional garbage cans and replacements for receptacles, Frost Park grave markers, parks, furniture, town becoming a member of the Chambers of Commerce. I mean, any individual that sits around this table can be a member of that. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's just that when we, in all honesty, we go places and the municipality of Yarmouth and Argyle, they all have their banners supporting them, but we don't. So we thought it would be the
So
right thing.
you're suggesting we just buy banners, is that it?
No.
Oh.
I'm suggesting that the Chamber of Commerce is something we should support. It's our local businesses. It's just always brought to our attention that why doesn't.
But they
why
do it
doesn't
every
the
year.
town-
I know they do it every
I
year.
think it's a yearly
Yeah,
membership or something.
yeah, but any individual can join.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It doesn't have to be the whole town as a town of Yarmouth. Anyway, so there's a lot of these things that I don't know what the cost is. So we can say yes, no, and never know what the cost will be. So how do we get an accurate figure? We can say we don't want all 12, which I'm not in total agreement. If there's going to be any, you can cut all the rest except number 12 for me.
Yeah, see? So there's a couple things. Okay, what were you gonna say, Jeff? I was just gonna say a couple things. If we can go through the list and say, we're already trying to find money, period,
We do every year. Yeah.
right? So let's go through this list of 13 things, see if there are things that we're saying, you know, we really don't need to do this. Then let's not do it, and then come back maybe with some estimates on what it would cost, because Danny's right. If something costs $500, you may not fight it as much as if you're trying to find 50, depending on, priorities. Does that sound sensible?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so number 1, the lighting is gone. Number 2 is still on the table.
But that's not, Councilor Kozik asked a question about students. So he's
Yeah.
talking like June to.
But we're
talking about.
we're talking about
permanent-
seasonal,
We're
yeah.
talking about seasonal and permanent part-time
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we
yeah,
need
yeah.
costs for
Which
that.
could be from April until
November.
November or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm just talking
That's right, too.
from now
Yeah,
on, right?
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the new 100 series highway signs.
That can wait.
Does anybody feel like,
We don't know what we want yet.
no, we don't. Go ahead.
I always thought, I'm exposing myself here, I always thought that the 100 series signs was, that came under the province, not us,
If we want to put up the,
within town limits?
We want to do something special, like County Yarmouth, your historic waterfront, put a picture of the gazebo or home of the new cat ferry, and put a provincial quality highway sign, we'd have to pay for that sign over and above what the
We don't
Department of
need that.
Highways would do.
No.
But there's other, we
I'd
don't
say
know what we
strike it.
want, but there's other municipalities that do innovative things with signs, but
yeah,
we don't know what we want and what the cost is yet,
so are we okay to take out number 3?
Yes.
Remember, you need to yell loud if you disagree. The new street signage facade society, I don't know what that is.
That was, they were recommending or suggesting that the street signs that were done for the historical district. They want to change. No, that'd be expanded through the town.
All those nice signs.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we can hold off on that.
Okay, town becoming a member of the Chamber of Commerce.
I'd like to know
Oh,
how much
I
that
disagree.
cost.
Huh. It's just, and all I'm saying to that one is,
Just
for a couple $100, it's really embarrassing to sit there in a town that's supposed to support business, and we don't. Oh, yeah, it's only a couple $100. I don't know what it is. Find out how much it is, Jer.
Go call up now, Jim.
Parks accessible furniture and overhead coverings. Parks accessible furniture.
Isn't that already gonna be, we'll check with that, Councilor Kozik, our next,
Recreation meeting?
Yarmouth Recreation, we'll see, I know Frank talked about that, and we'll also maybe next Communities in Bloom, if, I think tomorrow we have a budget coming in, we would talk about that at Communities in Bloom, we'll talk about that at Yarmouth Recreation to see if there's any support for that.
Madeline?
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. Back up to number 5. Yeah, I'd like to know how much that would cost. And yes, it's true. I think just about every one of us that sits around the table, we are, as businesses and individuals, we are already members. But that's just it. We're individual members, and we're not representing, we're not supporting the town as being an entity. So yeah, I'd like to know how much that is too. And if it's under $5,000, it's not that much. I think we could squeeze that in the budget. Thank you.
So parks accessible furniture, we're gonna leave it with you guys at recreation and
We'll leave
stuff,
that at
okay? So,
Recreation and-
yeah, it's still on the page, yeah,
Yeah, and do it through Communities in Bloom.
yeah. Frost Park Grave Marker Project.
I think that's something that was through the, no, I think that was through, the Heritage Committee that, Councilor Langell had brought up, and I think we can strike that for the year and review that the next fiscal year.
Don't lose track of it,
No,
okay? Okay, Frost Park, okay, that's gone. Replacing the Main Street waste receptacles to Forest Stream.
I think we could wait that off.
Anybody disagree? Just giving a lot of people more things to ruin. 7 additional Forest Stream waste receptacles.
I think we can wait on that too.
We're helping you. YMCA capital grant, 20,000. Anybody disagree?
Was this not?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Anyone around the table remind me, did this not come up as a result of the grants to organizations process? They came late, and then someone had suggested put it in as a running number on in the budget. Do you remember anything like that, Jerry? No? That sounds vaguely familiar. It feels vaguely familiar to me. I remember saying that you refer it to budget so that becomes a standing item. What was the 20,000 for? Anyone remember?
I think they got some capital
Oh, all right, thank you.
Okay, so what did we agree on number 10? 11. Oh,
We're gonna see, it could be up to, it could be anywhere from 20 to 100, Deputy Mayor?
but, so how does that work, Jerry? We leave it in case?
Well, if something comes up and it becomes more of a priority than something else in our capital budget, maybe flip it that way, or I'm not sure how fast.
Or could we put a
If you're still working on concepts and ideas at this point, it would be something that you would actually need funding for this year.
Could you put a number? Could you put like 50 in there, and then if it was over above, and then if it worked one way, you wouldn't use it? Jim, what?
Well, we mentioned a couple things on our capital project list that are kind of just holding, setting aside money, so those could be used for another purpose.
Okay, Jim?
This is a budget for, the year that we're talking about is what year? I know that, yeah. So that's, yeah. So I know that. I was asking an obvious question. Leave it at $100,000. If we come up with a project, we'll discuss it with Jeff and Jerry. And it may not be this year.
So our 123 just went to 223, is that what you're saying?
So our debt just
No,
doubled if we leave it.
in operation, it's in the capital budget, Jerry. You've got,
Any project, Jim, though, do we need a light?
Well, yeah, you do. Jeff's next. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, so if, Deputy Mayor, if I could interpret what you just said, I think you'd like us to keep 100,000 in mind, but not necessarily find the cash in this budget process, but if there is a project, come back with it,
absolutely.
and, you know, we'll take a look at the capital budget at that time, the operating budget at that time,
Yeah.
and figure out how to come up with it, but
Yeah.
there is no project at this time. so-
There currently is no project. We're just completing projects and working on the Killen Brother building. I thought, Jerry, I saw, and Jeff, I don't know what number it is in the capital budget, but I thought I saw $100,000. And it was further along. It wasn't this year, it was next year. Am I wrong in that, you guys?
There was a waterfront park for 100,000.
Hit me with an waterfront. You got a budget of a, no, that's not what I'm looking at.
That was at our meeting, Jim, we agreed, to
Yeah.
ask the town for $100,000 to put aside, that was in here,
Yeah.
for us, in case we run into, we get capital project.
Mhm.
That was around the table, so
Yeah.
I thought I seen it in there, like you said, but it must be here.
If it isn't in the capital project budget, then, but that's okay. If the group comes to council and has a viable project, I'd like to think that we can find the money. And it's
So does that
anywhere,
mean we can take this out?
I think what,
We got, everybody's lights are on.
Capital budget, page 2, is number 21, 22, 23, came or initiated by.
Okay, there we are, yeah. Page 2, number 21, 22.
Numbers 21, 22, and 23 are all instigated through the request of the
Shit, Batman, I don't know how you guys do this. Okay, so I don't understand what we're doing. Are we taking this out? And then hopefully we find it if we need it?
saying we don't need to fund our operating budget.
Okay,
Right now.
okay, so we're taking it out.
Right, but Jim is asking you to commit yourself in principle if they come forward with a viable project.
I think,
Find our share of that
I
project.
put that in brackets on mine.
I think we do that anyway. I mean, we would, yeah. Go ahead, Phil.
No, I think, Jeff got it. I think I know where we're coming from.
Okay,
So if something really good comes down the line, we'll
Yeah.
have to do some rejigging,
Yeah,
refiguring it out.
okay.
My guess is even if they came up with a project, it's just a guess, if they came up with a project next month that they want to advance to council and look for your support for the town share, of course, they always go looking for funding from province and feds as well, so you're probably going to miss this year's construction season anyway, right?
Yep.
So you're really not talking about this year. You might make a commitment to a project when the money comes together from other sources.
Okay, so 12, organizational review funding. We said we wanted to get the cost on that. Go ahead.
So Linda, Linda popped open the envelopes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and so the range is a low of 21,000 and a high of 76. The average is 44.9. There are 7 proposals.
So can we put the high number in there right now and then we discuss it later? That's what you do, right? Yeah, put the 70 in there and then because we.
Yeah, so what you'll do, the proposals will be copied and provided to you, and they were given in the request for proposal document I guess, a criteria on which their proposals would be scored. So we'll be asking each of you to score the proposals. Price is part of the scoring, but it isn't the only factor, obviously, when you're looking for services. And so, however you want to earmark money here, if you want to take the average for now, or if you want to take the high, however you want to do it. And then ultimately a decision will be made based on the scoring, how much you actually need.
Let's do 50. If it's more, then it's good.
Yeah, so I should say this too, sorry. I should say this as well around the average and the low and the high, is that there are only 2 proposals that are above that average number.
And how many do we have altogether?
7.
7? Okay.
Any of them say you have to do
Yep.
it? Anybody say you have to have a plan first? Yeah, go ahead, Danny.
My question is, Jeff, the normal, I don't know what normal is when you open tenders, as a CAO. Having counselors do this, is that the norm thing to do? What, have you checked with other municipal units? I don't have a problem doing it, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same wavelength, same path as the other municipal units that do this. Do they have their councils score this? And if we're going to do this, are we going to do it for other tenders? I guess, well, don't everybody lose their cool here.
no, I just wanna
I'm just asking the question because I want clarity. I want clarity to know that we put our trust in you to pick these different tenders. And now you're saying, I want your assistance to help to do these tenders and score these people. I don't know what the rationale is behind it. I can pretty much do it, but I would think that you, with your knowledge of what we're looking for, because we picked 1 or 2, we picked number 1 with the terms of reference from, I think it was Claire, or was it Digby? I don't forget which one it was. I got it in my drawer here. I'm not really sure which one it was. So anyway, those are my questions and my concern is this the normal thing to do, and have you checked with other municipal units, and is that their way of how they've done theirs? Not that we have to go with the way that people done theirs. I want to know the rationale behind this, that's all.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so it isn't a tender. In the sense that a tender is usually, you put out a specification, everyone bids on the specification, such as, paving streets, right? We don't ask them about their experience in paving streets and so on, so we always go on price on those, unless we are dealing with a contractor where we've had really bad service. So this is a request for proposals, and to answer your question, steering committees in Clare and Digby did involve councillors, did involve their regional representative through municipal affairs, as well as CAO. How many of them scored their proposals? I don't know that detail. I assume if they were on the steering committee, they scored the proposals. So I asked our group here, I think it was last committee of the whole, who wanted to participate in that process, and the feedback I got was everyone wanted to, and so that was your decision that everyone would. We could have gone with a subcommittee. I will participate, absolutely, and we'll get together after we've scored them individually and talk about sort of what we saw and didn't see, and ultimately reach a decision. So the rationale is because it's based on their proposals. Some will propose maybe different methodologies. Some will have different experiences. Give you, I guess, an analogy or a similar situation in terms of the town hall renovations here. I'm not participating in that request for proposals process at all, because I feel, frankly, it's outside of my my expertise. I don't feel I have much I can offer to that.
You're right.
And I get, yeah, so in this one, I think I can contribute, and thank you for that. So, you know, the town hall one, I think, is mostly councillors leading that. And this one, I think it'll be a joint effort, myself, you guys, and we'll score and come up with a decision.
I had called Claire and just to see how they went through it, and he hasn't gotten back to me. I called him twice, and I talked to the CAO, and but he said he was going to talk to the warden, and of course it's fishing season and they're always busy, right? So I wanted to see how their method, how they used. Did they use counselors? Did the CEO pick it? But he wasn't there at that time. He came in afterwards. And but anyway, now that you say that yeah, and we did agree to all of us get together. But I just wanted to make sure that I'm hearing it right. And this is I guess you must have called somebody, or you looked at the procedures, how they done it through the process that we went through, number one and number two, how they done theirs, which one number one we picked. It was some months ago.
I've had a few discussions with Connie from
okay.
Clare, as well as Tom Ossinger from Digby,
Yeah.
specifically around their processes. So.
Connie, Connie's not the CAO, is he?
No, she
no.
has stepped into the role
Yeah,
of Director of Finance.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but she was there at that time.
Yeah.
And the other, Stephen is his name? Stefan. Stephen in English. Yeah, I talked to him, and he was going to get back to me, and he's like all CAOs are busy, right? But especially this time of year, so.
Brand new
Anyway,
too.
I guess that's you answered my question. Thank you.
I spoke with Connie.
So Jim first, and then Phil?
Yeah, she got a better job now.
Go ahead, Jim.
I see under protective services, the
Oh, we're
police,
not there yet.
police protection, that we have an increase from an actual of 2.380 to 2.414. I'm way ahead of you guys.
No, but
I'm-
keep your light on. Let me ask one more question.
I'm trying to get through the budget process
No,
here.
but we're almost there. Number 13 on page 5 is staff for the CAO. That extra staff for the CAO. I'm in favor of keeping it in there,
I am too.
and then Jerry can
That
find
would
us
help
a,
all of us if he has an
all right?
assistant.
Anybody disagree with that? We all right for leaving that in? You disagree? Okay, go ahead.
We're doing
Do you
this for
disagree?
you.
Go ahead, somebody.
Well, a conversation I had with Jeff on this matter, and I felt very strongly that doing his assessment, I felt very strongly that he needed some extra help. But he was very reluctant because of all the other priorities and what's taking on with his rest of his staff. He didn't think it would be fair at this time to have that person, even though I know he would like to have it, but he would know if it would be justifiable to override all the other things that are really happening in the town of Yarmouth at this given time and put somebody else on working projects, stuff like that. I still think it's a great idea, but I have to agree with exactly what he's saying. Maybe this is not the time, but I still think it should be there as part of our budgetary process, and if not this year, or maybe down the road further, maybe this fall or whatever, but no later than next year, to be really looked at and put that on one of our top priority lists, because it only benefits the citizens of Yarmouth and councilors that'll be sitting around this table. So I think it's a great idea, and I was put back by his response, because I know he's busy, and he is busy. All the staff are busy, and that extra person would really help everybody in this office and councilors. But I'll take the man for what he said, so that's just my take on it.
I think I can almost go along with that. I hate to see he does it. It's hard to sit here and talk about you while you're here. No, you do it, and you do an amazing job. But you know what else would help? I'm just gonna throw this out there, don't anybody attack me. We really need to sit at this table and figure out what it is we need to do and keep all the little things at bay. We don't have to be doing everything from this table sometimes that we do. Just the little things add up. And the one that I keep reading is where you had to do a noise review of New York City or something like that to compare. I'm like, oh my goodness, are we really asking? We need to think about what we're asking sometimes. It's nice to know, but we just got to be careful. Okay, Madeline, you're up.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was surprised, too. We had the same conversation, the CAO and I. But we agreed to disagree. And the year, we're looking at next year. A year can be long and a year can be short. Things can change. I would leave it in the CAO's corner on his desk. It's his decision ultimately, but I would like to leave it as a line item. I'd like to still put it in the budget for when you decide to take advantage of it.
Jim, is your light on for, oh, you're on, okay, so what are we gonna do with this? What do we wanna do with this? Are we leaving it in, we taking it out?
I would say leave it in. Leave it in for now? Leave it in?
No, that's in. Yeah. The staff for CAO.
I say
I say leave it in.
Okay, leave it in. Leave it in.
I was just talking,
Yeah.
can we leave it in but not implement it for this year? Okay, so I say take it out.
I would assume anything that's on this list that's not going to be included in this year's budget will go on the list for next year.
What, that, the assistant?
Yeah,
For next year?
yeah. Same as
Let-
fines or.
Let me ask this.
Next year.
Let me ask this in all honesty. Part of it is to find the perfect person. I think that's true. So in 6 months, if you're like, oh man, that person's it, we can find the money.
We'd have to bump a grant to an organization, but we would find the money.
We'd find the money from some of the organizations that need to fundraise more. Right? We're just looking for a little help on what you want us to do.
I'd like to see it available.
Okay, so part of the issue is what you just said, is if I'm gonna have somebody who's assisting me, I want somebody who's really great, who isn't causing me more work, that's actually helping us to really elevate our game. And so, you know, that's the kind of person I have in mind. I don't have a person in mind. At the end of the day, you know, what my office does is support everyone else in the organization and support you guys. And if you need more on your end, from my office, then there's only two ways to do that, is I give less to the organization, more to you, of me, or there's somebody else helping. And, I have a hard time in the seat that I sit in with my responsibility to the other 70 people in the organization saying, I'm getting help, when many of the managers in the organization are saying, I need help. Like in the Parks Department. Exactly, that's a good example. So it's my position on this is really about, I manage expectations of people in the organization around what they can have for help going forward, and I don't want to be at all perceived to putting myself ahead of them. On the other hand, you guys have important work to do, and if you need more support to do your work as well as you want to do your work, then I totally respect that, and if you want to put somebody in place to help with that, my office, that's great. But I'm not asking for it. I don't. But if you
work with the Parks Department,
the part-time parks, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to say that it's not. It feels to me, if it's when I have to manage expectations of everyone else in the organization, it feels a little icky to be talking about getting help for me. But if it's help for you, right, through my office, then I understand that, right?
But there's no number here, right? These numbers aren't in. Okay. So could we maybe agree at 25, because you're not going to find anybody till at least half the year's out? Was that sensible, Jerry? You okay with putting 25 in to cover half? Oh, sorry, Madeline, go ahead. Or not? Okay?
It's all right, never mind.
Well, I forgot. So what do you think? Yeah, his light, I told him not to turn his light off, because he's trying to get to the other part. Are we all right putting 25 in? Does anybody think we shouldn't, just in case, put that in?
We're gonna have another one of these processes before the budget's passed, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We'll put it in for now, then we'll have a look at it again.
Okay, so we're done that.
Yes.
Page.
All right then, yes.
Okay, good job, everyone. We cut out a lot of stuff. So Jeff kept track. Do you want me to tell you what we did?
You're looking at 75,000, give or take a couple thousand for the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, that's what we have. You're looking at.
What? What? You're looking at what? 2 seasonal staff.
Those were initially said no. I understand.
No, we said, yeah, I said yes.
Oh, wait a minute. I had it circled. I said we were gonna find out how much. That's what we agreed to find out how much. Okay? Okay, it's a no then. We got more
We'll
no's
just
than.
talk 1 year to see how we make out,
Yeah.
and then come back with a recommendation.
Okay? So we've got,
Well, no, I'm sorry, hold a minute. Where, are we on number 2? Are we discussing number 2?
we were discussing number 2,
The
but,
seasonal staff?
yeah.
So seasonal staff is off the table now?
It appears to be. No, it was not off the table. It was, Jerry was going to give us a cost on that. So what do we want to do?
Leave it in.
Yes. Leave it in.
Well, we got to vote, okay? All those in, okay, it's not leaving it in. It's all those in favor of Jerry getting a price, for a cost for us. I agree with a cost. Yeah?
But we don't have to agree when we get the cost.
Exactly, and that's what Phil was saying. We got another round to come back at this. We might just say we want one, whatever. Yeah. Okay, Jerry, so you good there?
Give Linda a whippersnapper.
So really, Jerry, the only thing on there is a costing for number 2, number 5, and 13. Oh, and 12 we already added in. Okay?
I'm sorry, and number
Yeah.
11 is just, we're sitting on the fence, we're waiting to see if something comes up, is
Yeah,
that right?
no, we took it out.
Completely.
Yeah. We took 11 out. We took the waterfront out. All right? Good. So the next time we come together, you're gonna give us some numbers? Oh, you wanna do it now? That works.
Okay, so ignoring the seasonal staff, I had in my head here that there's 50 for their organization to do half a year, 25.
You're low talking us, Chair, come on. You're low talking.
I don't even think it's on.
I thought I was the only one that was deaf.
No, it was on at first.
Harry never needed the mic.
And I can hear him.
Harry never needed it.
Just talk loud, Jer. Just talk loud.
No,
I had number 12 at 50,000, and number 13 at 25. We had Chamber of Commerce membership as well, which would be relatively a small amount, and potentially seasonal staff. So, as of right now, if we took our 123,000 out of the added 75 more, we're looking for about $200,000 of our operational budget right now.
Yeah, but that's without the additional park.
That's the additional part. Seasonal staff, around 25,000 per.
What's that? Chambers, $200.
Park seasonal staff, about 25,000.
Flags club.
about 25, you said?
The Vantage Club.
Right.
Park seasonal staff.
So 223,000. Okay, talk to us.
So in here, we have the engineer's position being filled for a full year, so.
At what number?
So we could, by the time we fill that out, I'd be confident saying we could pull 50,000 out of the budget for that.
New engineer.
We can remove 50,000 from the budget for the second half of the engineers. Okay? So we are at 178. That's what I'm getting. Only because I added up groceries for
We'll find
20
it.
years of my life. Carry the 6. Yeah.
You got more, Jerry? You got some other good ones?
I don't have anything that's significant to be going through and
Can you find something when we get back?
How about,
Jim's travel budget.
yeah, I need,
Yeah, okay, so like Jeff just suggested, we figure out our next budget meeting and they'll bring back some, yeah, we want to get this, we want to pass this in June, don't we? We want to pass this June the 9th at council.
Yeah.
June the 9th at council, not June 2017.
Can be done. Can be done.
so your worship, we're all finished for the day, is that what you're saying?
What's it, I think Jim had a question about, was it about the policing service, Jim?
No, no, I'm okay. I mean, I don't have any real problem. I was moving on when I shouldn't have been moving on.
What'd you say, Jim? What's
No,
your
what-
question?
I was moving on to the other part, the town expenditures under, and
What,
particularly protective services,
what page are you on?
page 13.
Okay,
And so I was just asking Jerry that the actual budget for 2015-16 is 2.38, and we're 2.414. Is that just I see it under administration or RCMP contract, that's engraved in stone, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's a letter in here on this one. We get a letter from the S&P with their budget increases and changes to what they're doing. And Jeff and I go through our staffing and history is come up with our budget. Basically, we typically don't budget for the full amount. We typically have one RCP off or something. So we don't budget exactly what they say, we typically budget less than we typically have been fairly close. But we did look at this past year and then the upcoming year, and we budgeted $100,000 more this year than we did last year. So we are that feeling on that upcoming year.
And under transportation services on page 14, the actual budget for this year was 888, and next year it's 1.1 million. I think everyone wants to spend money. Page 14, yeah. Number 11, transportation services.
That's where the street lighting from the actual is down. So I look at page 38, the actual GL detail that that's why that's quite high compared to the actual for here. You'll see that we budgeted 1.2 million for last year, or essentially just under 900,000.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, LED streetlights were there, and the paving patch was $200,000 on spending budget, those two lines.
So we banked some money.
So under public transit, I mentioned, I'm interested in the income and expense. Are we getting close to, we've had, to looking at income and compared to the cost of operation? Do we?
We've only done that based on our budget projections, I haven't done that for the last 3 4 months.
We haven't done like an actual yet. And no.
It's split up between the 2 year ends.
Yep. And I'm okay with that. It's, so the 116 public budget,
16 basically is looking at wages and benefits and then the fuel levels.
okay.
And putting in a bit for maintenance, not a lot,
So we should have some income that, with that, that, yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. I'm okay, I'm still just wandering through it, and I've,
Just one quick one, either Jeff or Jerry. Traffic services, what does that mean, traffic services? Is that that's not the people that hold signs, road workers, stuff like that? Is that part of our department? On transportation services, 11, and on number 5. Page 14, yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, the GL detail for that is on page 39.
Page 39?
So in the very back is the actual GL detail.
What is it you say? Oh, the details. Traffic control, is that what that is?
Yep. Traffic marking contracts, supplies, sign maintenance, street light repairs.
Oh, that's all one big expenditure thing? Okay, okay.
Those 6 or 7 lines you see at 9,000.
Okay, So last year was 121? Yeah, yeah, actually, yeah. Okay, so that's a fair figure. Thank you.
Yeah. So Jerry, on 43, halfway down, economic development. So you have facade program, 10,000, budget, actual 93,000. Like, why didn't we, where's the money that we budgeted?
Yeah, we budgeted that in the capital, so I have to move money between the capital and operating.
Okay. I guess it just looks like they way overspent, but they didn't.
Yeah, no, we budgeted.
Page 43.
We just budgeted 10 to kind of do some different things, but then the actual grants went through that line as well, that for the grants themselves.
Okay.
So I say the actuals are still some work to do on them for the auditors.
Yeah.
So Jeff, on the high school, if things go our way, we'll be in then. If things go our way, we should be in money,
Oh, yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah,
Well, no, it won't cost what's here.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. If things went really our way, absolutely, you're right.
Yeah, but that's how, it hasn't worked good so far, so, but anyway, keep your fingers crossed. Great, thank you.
All right, so I guess we're good.
I have a question, but I'm not going to turn my mic on. Page 40, under environmental health, other, rodent control. Well, we found a few extra mice that we had actually kind of anticipated.
So, yeah. Yeah, so we do have some facilities that, if left unmaintained, might attract rodents. And so we have contracts with an external service provider that helps us to keep that in check.
Thank you.
I think a lot of businesses do. We're close to the water, so,
Oh, absolutely.
yes. Okay.
But I still didn't want to turn my mic on.
Are we good? So the next, we're gonna set another meeting date? You're gonna fix it, okay? Anything else here? Yep. Okay. Motion to go in camera.
I will make that motion, Your Worship.
Well, Linda will,
Set it out.
okay.
Would you rather if I didn't ask?
No,
them that?
just ask. It's all supposed to be transparent. Or do we need-
Jerry, in the budget, I know we haven't paid yet for like Globe and for everything going on at Lake George. So where in the budget will that be?
Right now, I was on the assumption that most of that would be for water.
Pardon?
Water utility.
Most of that was for the water.
That's Tom's land.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so that's not the answer yet. Somebody asked, that's not. No, he said water utility, but if anybody asks you, when someone calls you, it's not, that's not the answer yet. They're working on it. Yeah. Yeah,
Can't tell those people on TV.
well,
Anybody's watching.
TV on Facebook, on